Good morning, Cerveceros. My name's Dan Gomez. I'm with the San Antonio Cerveceros. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be making a Pliny the Younger recipe. We're going to go through all the steps in making your beer, all the way from mash water chemistry, mashing, adding the grain, boil, every step that you're going to need to know how to make beer. This is our first run on video, so it might not come out perfect. We do welcome any comments that you have, things that we can make better for you. We're going to be making a lot of references to charts and other information on our website. So please bear with us. This is our first go at it. I hope you get a real good idea of what it is to make some home craft beer at your place. And we'll start off real quick with some water chemistry. Let me back up just a little bit. Before we do that, let me explain a couple of the items that we have here. You're looking at a big stainless steel. It is not aluminum. You do not want to use aluminum in your brewing process. Aluminum will give you an off flavor. So we do have stainless steel here. We have 9 gallons of water. We call this our hot water liquor tank. We prepared our water in here, and you'll notice that he'll come down to this tier. This is our mash tun. There's a false bottom at the bottom. So what it does is it acts like a filter. We're going to put our hot water in here of a specific temperature that we'll get to. We're going to add our grain in here at a specific temperature that we'll get to. And it'll all come together to a uniform temperature, and then we'll hold it for 1 hour. That process is called mashing. What happens in mashing is we convert the carbohydrates in the grain into sugar. Then we rinse all that water out into our boil pot, and we're going to have a sweet water mixture that's called wort. We get our wort, we boil it, we add hops at certain intervals so we can counteract the sweetness and get some bittering in there, and then all of that is sterilized, chilled very quick, put into a carboy, and then we'll ferment. You'll be getting more details on all that as we go through this. So right now we're going to start off with the water. Since we're making Pliny the Younger, it is an IPA style, so the water profile that we chose is going to be Barton on the Trent. It is a English water profile, and just to give you an idea, I'm going to go through it verbally right now, but there will be a copy that you can see edited into this film. We're going to be using baking soda, gypsum, Epsom salt, and kosher salt. It's very specific that we're using kosher salt because kosher does not have iodine in there. If there's any trace of iodine in your beer, your wort, or anything like that, it'll be detrimental to the health of the yeast. And what we're doing is we're trying to make some real good food for the yeast, because the yeast is going to work for us and it's going to convert everything to beer. So just make sure that whenever you do use salt, it's kosher salt, no iodine. The prescription for this: we need to have 9 gallons of water ready so we can mash. Baking soda, 9 gallons times 0.3 grams per gallon equals 2.7 grams. We need 2.7 grams of baking soda. It's already been weighed out. We did use a scale. It is very important to use a scale. I know a lot of people want to just use the tablespoon method, but that is not accurate. We're all about education and using the proper tools for the job, so you do want to invest in a scale. Scales can be expensive. This particular item came in at $25, not that expensive. You'll notice that he only goes to a single digit, so you're going to get a full gram. You're not going to get the decimal point in there. In order to get that decimal point, you'll notice that this $25 item will jump up to about $225. This is good enough. As we explained, 2.7, we can keep it at 2, and you can guesstimate the 0.7 portion in there. The next item that we're going to be adding into it is going to be gypsum. Gypsum, there again, we're starting off at 9 gallons. Multiply that by 4 grams per gallon. 9 times 4 comes out to 36 grams. It was measured out, and we already added it into the water. Epsom salt, 9 gallons times 0.6 grams per gallon comes out to 5.4. We measured that out and put it in. Last item, kosher salt, 9 gallons times 0.2 grams per gallon equals 1.8 grams. We already put that in. Everything is already dissolved. We've already come up to temperature, and now I'm going to explain how we're going to mash in. As a note, you're wondering, where did I get these numbers from? We will have it posted on the Cerveceros webpage, and it's going to be a prescription for Barton-on-the-Trent. Also, keep an eye out for our water chemistry profile. It's going to have 9 items on there, anywhere from Vienna, Dublin, Munich, Barton, and a couple of other ones that I don't have to memory right now. They're going to give you all the prescriptions that you're going to need for additives in grams per gallon. However many gallons you're going to need, you multiply it by the gram multiplier. That's how much you're going to add into your water. We are going to have another film on water chemistry, so don't let this be pressing to you. The 3 things that we need to know about mash. I need to know how many pounds of grain I have. For this Pliny the Younger recipe, we have 22 pounds of grain. That's a given. You're going to need to know that. Mash thickness. We're going to be going 1.55 quarts per pound. That is a fairly thin mash thickness. I'll give you more details on that later, but that's a given that you're also going to need to know. Mash water, we're going to need 8.52 gallons of water. You'll notice that I said that we calculated for 9 gallons. It's better to have a little bit more than not enough. I'd rather have some in reserve than not have enough. And as a multiplier, 9 is a real simple round number to multiply to. Desired strike temperature. Strike temperature is going to be the temperature that you want your mash to balance out at. We're going to hold the grain at 154 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, the right enzymes are going to come out, convert your carbohydrate to sugar, and it's going to make for a very good beer. Now we're going to move on to knowing the temperature of our grain. We have 22 pounds of grain, and right now my current temperature is 81. These are going to be all the factors that you're going to need to know for mashing. Right now we are working on a mash calculator, but we do use the calculator from our friends over at greenbayrackers.org. Go to their website, punch in these given numbers that you're going to need, and it's going to ask you, how many pounds of grain do you have? Enter 22 pounds of grain. It's going to ask you for your mash thickness. Enter 1.55 quarts per pound. And then it's also going to ask you for the temperature of your grain. And our current temperature right now is 81 degrees. If you're wondering how to take the temperature, we do have a thermometer here. We probed the bag and it came up with a temperature of 81 degrees. When you go into that mash calculator, you're going to enter all these givens and hit enter, and it's going to give you a strike water temperature. Cut.